SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Though I have to say goodbye, remember me. That's what probably the industry in Brazil is saying, but only the way we know it so far, because it is changing and turning into something very different starting next January the 1st. Welcome to iGaming Daily, where we will talk today about the Brazilian industry and the changes it's going through over the last few months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds, and I don't know what comes after seconds, but I'm your host for today, Fernando Noodt, Senior Business Journalist for SBC Notícias, and I am joined today by the wonderful SBC Notícias Brasil team, or part of it, because we don't have the full crew today, but we have editor Ricardo Assis. Ricardo, welcome to another episode. How are you?
Hello, Fer. Nice to be here again. Excited to talk a little bit more about Brazil because things are in motion every single day. Things are changing, so we always have a lot to talk about.
And since we have so much to talk about Brazil, we also have business journalist for SBC Notícias Brasil, Maria Menezes. Ana, how are you?
Hola, Fer. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm pretty excited as well to talk a bit more about Brazil today.
And to talk about Brazil, we have the person that started the whole thing, right? The SBC Notícias Brasil OG, Isadora Marcante, which is now Relationships Manager Brazil. How are you, Isa?
Hello, Fer. Hello, Ricardo. Ana. I'm really happy to be here. It's the first time that I'm going to record an episode with Ana and Ricardo at the same time, which is awesome. Last week I had with Ricardo and Fer, and today with Ana and Ricardo as well. And Fer, always. You as a host, always great, right, Fer? It's incredible to have you as a host in every episode. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys.
Well, I appreciate the compliments. And I think how the Brazilian crew has grown over the last few months, it's proof of how the Brazilian industry and the Brazilian market has grown as well. So I guess we can just dive straight into it. But first, let's thank Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market and sponsor of iGaming Daily. As a special offer, Optimove are offering new clients a free first month when they buy Optimove. For more information and claim the free month, go to optimove.com/SBC. And also we will leave the links down in the podcast episode description so you can find them more easily. But now, I was talking about remember me. I have to say goodbye. And someone had to say goodbye over the last few hours, or someone said goodbye in the Brazilian market, and a very big name decided to exit Brazil. Ana, you have the floor.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Betway has decided not to move forward with its operation license, and they announced the closure of the operations in the country, so here in Brazil. On November 5, social users on X started to post screenshots of the emails they received from Betway, informing them that the deposits were suspended and the company wouldn't be operating anymore from November 13th forwards. So it was quite a shock, to be honest. And the company applied for a license starting in 2025, so next year. And they also received authorization from the Ministry of Finance to continue operating in Brazil until the end of this year. So there's only 2 months left, less than 2 months actually, to the end of the year. So yeah, it came quite as a shock. And we would know for sure if they were approved for next year in a list that's still gonna be published on November 18 with the names of the sportsbooks approved by the Ministry of Finance to operate in Brazil, so regularly. And just for a small context, Betway is not the first sportsbook to leave Brazil, actually. Other operators such as Adin Esportivo or Amuleto Bet or Vera and John also decided not to move forward with the license. We do have a requirement of new rules, and it also includes the payment of 13 million reais for a license fee. So yeah, we're seeing the development of operators still deciding if they want to keep, running the market here in Brazil. And Betway was one of those, unfortunately, who decided to leave.
And even though several people from SBC actually reached out to the company and tried to get a comment on the decision, most of them actually replied there was nothing official about the Betway or the company in general exiting Brazil. But like you said, there was a very clear message for the Brazilian users over the last few days, and they are certainly out of the country.
Mm-hmm. When people access the platform, the official platform of Betway, and try to register, so this is something actually we all did as well, just to check for ourselves. And when users try to register for the platform, it's like a message shown explaining the decision. So it says, "Dear Betway customers, regrettably," that's a hard word to pronounce. Regrettably, we have decided not to proceed with acquiring the regulated license offered in the country. We will work with you to refund any outstanding balances. And if you have any account you like to discuss, please contact us via email. So, actually the procedure, which is pretty basic when a company is, live in a country. However, they didn't have any other explanation besides that. So we're still kind of in the dark as to why they have decided to do this. With this decision, the betting at the sportsbook, actually, Betway sponsors West Ham United, for example. And this is just, I don't know, it's pretty unusual, to be honest. But yeah, we tried to contact them as well in different platforms, and we didn't get anything besides what you already said about, just nothing being official. But it is official if we see that how they reached out to the customers and what is live on their websites. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much official to me,
Yeah.
even though the company has yet to issue a statement regarding their exit of Brazil. But Betway has definitely gone through a bumpy road during 2024 because Brazil is not the first market they exit. They actually, Supergroup actually announced in July that they would start their planned exit from the US sportsbook markets because they were not happy with the status quo. And they also decided to end their Swedish operation from October 1st. So now with Brazil, that makes it 3 markets if you consider US as one, but it's actually more than that. But yeah, definitely a tough year, or a year of tough decisions probably for Betway and Supergroup. But of course, the decision to leave Brazil had most of us scratching our heads on why they would exit the market with 2 months left before definitive license coming to force next January the 1st. And so I would now like to give the representative of João Pessoa the floor to go into a speculation ground. Right now, let's make since Betway, we couldn't get an official word from Betway yet. Let's go into speculation grounds. And Isa, why don't you tell us what you think could have pushed Betway to make the decision to leave Brazil?
Well, it's complicated because since we don't have an official explanation for that, it's easy to, like you said, speculate and understand why. But not only as a relationships manager, but like before when I was in SBC Notícias Brasil as well, we talk so much to people in the industry, to leaders in the industry. And the most common sense for us is that people are leaving or not applying for a license, or big companies such as Betway leaving the country show us, like I said on the other podcast, the legal uncertainty that Brazil has. It's unbelievable how it's like that in every department of the country, in economy, in education, in everything. It's just so uncertain that people get afraid of jumping in or investing in the country. So for a big company such as Betway to leave the market, showing that to the country that they don't mind losing the amount of revenue they can make in one single year, just because they're not sure if they want to be in the country, and to go through all these legal uncertainties that we've been facing right now, and we've been facing for years. It shows us, it gives us a message that Brazil is not doing well when it comes to regulating the market. It's That's like, I talk to operators, I talk to affiliates. That's my job at SBC, to talk to them, to understand their needs and to know their goals and what they want to do in the country for the next year and the next 5 years and so on. So we talk to them and they all say the same thing. They change the government changes the rules as they like at the moment that they want. So the companies don't know actually what's going to happen. Imagine, like, I don't know if that's the case of Betway, but that's what I heard from other operators as well. You go to a market, you pay for the license, and I don't know, a month after you pay 30 million BRL, which is like roughly, $6 million, you just get another law ordinance published, changing the whole game, changing your strategic plans, your growth measures, everything that you wanted to do. So it's a bit complicated, because if we keep doing this, if the government keeps changing the rules and not letting players, the big players of the market, know what they can actually do in a year without any news knocking on their doors, it's really bad. It's not. We're going to strangle the market and kill the market eventually. The legal market, of course, like not the parallel market, because this will never end.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
Of course, it's not only the government that may generate this juridical uncertainty, because speaking of uncertainty, the attorney's office, the general attorney's office, has filed an action of unconstitutionality before the Supreme Court against the legislation that rules the industry. I mean, that sounds big. So what do they argue, and why do they file this action now?
Oh yeah, the Attorney General office just filed a lawsuit against the industry to the Supreme Court, and like you said, Fair, and it's quite funny actually, because the argument is always the same. It's like moral values, and you're ruining the family, you're ruining the country, and it's not like, it's really not. We never saw an argument that is that show us numbers, that give us right things to think about and understand the situation. It's always because, Paulo Gone Branco, the prosecutor, said, the legislation is insufficient to protect the fundamental rights of the consumers, because the market, the sports betting market, the online sports betting market, has a predatory personality. What did he mean with that? What was the goal with this? Do you have any reason why you're saying that? Do you have any proof? Do you have any evidence that the industry says that? So, like you said, it doesn't stop. It's always, we always see new things happening, and that's actually the main argument to get the law 14790 that regulated the sports betting market last year, to get actually unconstitutionalized. So they don't see the law as a matter of, as a tool to protect consumers, to protect the industry, to protect the civil society as it, in general. They see the law as a threat, let's say like that, to the consumers and to the civil society. So that's the main reason why they're asking for the law 14790 to be considered unconstitutional. So I really don't know what's going to happen if the Supreme Court agrees with that. I mean, we know what's going to happen in legal terms. The law will be considered illegal, and the regulated market will be shut down. But I don't know what's going to happen after that, because we already have established market in the country. It's crazy, but we do.
Yeah, it does make sense, because he said that the legislation is insufficient, but the legislation isn't live yet. So it's going to be live in January. So why they are being so anxious about it? Because they don't have a runtime to evaluate it. They're doing it before. I don't understand it.
I guess we have only one thing to do now, which is hashtag Brazil. Wait and see. Yeah, wait and see what happens with this action filed by the Attorney General's office. But things have changed a lot over the last year in Brazil, and we're almost at the goal line, like Ricardo said, of having licensed companies. And of course, I'm talking about the definite licenses, not the provisional ones that are enforced now. But some people in the government, like Isa mentioned before, including no other than President Lula da Silva, have made a few comments that may have scared operators over the last few days.
So Jorge Cajuru, who is the president of the CPI das Bets, has said that he has a proposal that the government, by a decree, determines that only betting on results should be approved here in Brazil. So all the micro betting on cards, on corners, on players, goals, penalties should be banned. And 3 days later, he talked with Lula, and Lula said that this is a great idea, that they should do it, that they should go forward with it. So it has been a lot of pressure from the media and from players of other industries, as the banks and the commerce here in Brazil, on betting. And also we had like the situation regarding Paquetá, Bruno Henrique and Luis Henrique, who are high status players here in Brazil, that the three have represented the national side a few times. So they are big players, and they are being accused of forcing a yellow to manipulate the market. So there's a lot of pressure because of this, but if I'm being honest, I don't think that this will go through, because it's only going to push the people to the illegal market. It's impossible to ban this kind of betting.
Yeah, Brazil is not the first country to propose this. We were talking actually with SBC America's editor, Jessica Wallman, about it. And she was wondering if anyone will ever actually go through with it, with banning prop bets and banning all these type of markets, because this has been, of course, in the mouths and in the minds of a lot of regulators over the world. But that's not the only thing that happened over the last few hours in Brazil, Ricardo.
So Luis Fux has released a decision today in the morning of this Wednesday, partially agreeing with the ADI action of inconstitutionality 7721 and 7723, and he has proposed that beneficiaries of Bolsa Familia and social programs shouldn't be able to use their funds to bet. So we'll see how this will go, but this is a decision brought by the Supreme Court, so it will be enforced. And also he said that the measures to protect the children and the teenagers regarding the publicity of betting should be enforced immediately. So 2 big decisions in one day. Let's see how this will go.
Yeah, hashtag wait and see again. And of course, advertising has been also a very hot topic in South America, especially. So it's no surprise that Brazil goes down that road as well. But speaking of regulation, we have spoken about it before, but Ana Maria, you did an interview with Senator Iraja Abreu during the SBC Summit Latino America 2024 event. And it is now live on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Why don't you talk us a bit about the interview?
Okay, so the first thing to our listeners, actually, the interview was actually made of questions that weren't presented during the panel. So it's completely exclusive. So if you do want to hear some new inputs about, land-based casinos, you should check that out, definitely. We also have, the article published on SBC News Brasil. So this is also great. Notícias, actually. SBC Notícias Brasil. So you should definitely check that out. But we talked about, we always talk about, the maximum capacity of land-based casinos. So what is the maximum? What is the maximum? But we usually don't talk about just how to stop overcrowded casinos in the same place. So we talked a little bit about this, about protection of Brazilians and foreigner tourists when they come to play. So it's also a pretty interesting material because those are topics that were not really covered specifically in the law right now. So it's something for the future as well. So operators can also be prepared by, the quotes of Senadora Irajá. It's a great opportunity to learn a bit more about how the Senate is thinking of land-based casinos. And we're also getting, a lot of ground covered with this matter, especially during the hearings that we're having here in Brazil. So operators are, looking forward to it. And of course, other operators should also be on the lookout for this, because it's gonna be, like a major topic in Brazil in the next few months. So yeah, wait and see.
Hashtag wait and see, and make sure you check the interview with Senador Irajá on the YouTube channel of SBC Events. Be aware it is in Portuguese, so you'll have to deal with the auto translate, and you are under your own risk, but if you know Portuguese, make sure you check it out. Also, make sure to subscribe to SBC Notícias Brasil newsletter to keep up to date with all this information we have discussed here, and everything we will discuss in the future will surely be covered in SBC Notícias Brasil. But that has been all for today in this iGaming Daily episode, and I'll thank all the team from Brazil. A big shout out to Anaya McDonald for producing this episode, and to all our listeners out there. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.